A private jet landed at John Kennedy International Airport in New York. From Litak Vishov, a bright young man. Before landing, the deputy informed Mr. Inchin that as soon as they arrived, they would immediately go to the funeral hall. Pan Inchin asked the man, who surrounded the stench of the press. The assistant deputy, yes, adding that outside the funeral hall, the reporters had already broken up their tabir. Yunak said that there is nothing wonderful in this. Looking at the window, he recognized yesterday's telephone ring late in the evening from his grandfather. Then he told his brother that Ji-hoo would be happy with the one he kills effectively. The boy didn't understand, but I'm really going to know that this is the rest of Rosmov. The deputy told director Ji-hoo that for the new arrival, a very important leaf from Korea. She added that it would be better for Ji-hoo to take a look at him instead. Ji-hoo looked a little surprised and opened the envelope. I would be shocked if I saw a photograph of a girl I knew. The deputy said that they needed to get along. The girl went home in the evening with important packages. It was extremely cold outside. Vaughn grew over this, as if in the future, gatherings were to be held on such a day. While the girl was wondering why she had forgotten to buy anything at the store, a luxury car hovered in front of her. The girl realized that this car was not from her area. Once the doors opened, she didn't crash into them. From the car of the highest man in the expensive suit and from the girl, there was no stench. The girl looked like a ghost. The man guessed that the stench had not been detected for 5 years. Vin told her to pamper her. Vaughn admitted that she didn't know what was left between them, what she could talk about. Ji-hoo confirmed that it was possible that something was lost. And the girl said that she doesn't care so much. The man asked her to get into the car, but the girl gave up. Tody-hoo immediately told her to go home, showing her a hut on the door. The girl screamed at Ji-hoo that she was out of her mind. Vaughn added that he hasn't changed at all, he's still the same and doesn't think about other people. The man of faith, what is his charm and what does she know about this? The girl said again that she had not changed, but she asked when she finally arrived here. Tody Ji-hoo asked her whether to let him go home or to take his car with him in order to have fun. The girl confirmed that there was nothing in her for the whole hour. Vaughn added that she needed to go now, since there was nothing important for her in him. When the girl had already turned up, she went straight to the door, knocking her down. Ji-hoo said that tomorrow at 11:30 he would send a car for her, and they could have fun over lunch. The girl screamed, "No!" The man sat by his car and drove off. Vaughn was even more amazed at what she was doing, and thought about those who had not changed in the same way for the remaining 5 years. Having asked the director for water, where to take him immediately, Ji-hoo said that I need some time to get to the office. At that moment, Ji-hoo called his mother and asked him that she was leaving the girl. Then the woman asked who found out who was guilty. Yunak Vidpoviv that we will talk to her tomorrow, because if we talk about it today, she may get angry and come in. Mother said that she needed the testimony today. Ji-hoo believes that he will figure out everything himself and will call her tomorrow. If Director Ji-hoo is out of the car from the office, his assistant has asked and everything is in order. We learned that we were calling from New York. The deputy said that in the New York branch the police officers were outraged by the rapt work of the director. Ji-hoo confirmed that I will go there immediately after this. Yunak walked to his office and sat down on the chair. Vin closed his eyes and guessed the girl Young-yul. He was surprised that she lived in such a poor area. Ji-hoo called his secretary to his office. He asked him to clean the table for the 12th anniversary of tomorrow. The director added that all activities scheduled for that hour after lunch must be rescheduled for another day. Then the secretary asked for a trip to New York. Kerivnik Vidpoviv that you can go to the New York branch for the next 10 years to try there for about a week. The deputy said that he would contact them and take care of everything. The next day, Chong-yul prepared until she was ready and grew as small as she could. Everything turned out so smoothly that apparently she couldn't say anything. The girl believed that in the meeting with Ji-hoo won, she would simply be generous and say that those who are important for their needs. Yul got ready and went out into the street earlier, as needed. She was already excited, having touched her car in her booth. The girl greeted the man who opened her car door. Jong-yul just wanted to get into the car, but she walked over to Ji-hoo, who was sitting in the back seat. The girl did not realize that he was especially coming for her. Ji-hoo, having treated the girl, thanked her for the fact that she had left before. He added that he had a chance to follow her, as if she would not have come out. While they were sitting at a table near the cafe, Young-yul asked Ji-hoo asking for her. Vaughn added that she is counting on the fact that she will be united. The man of the second girl, what will we remove from her? Who said that he himself is not even a radius, that he had the chance to meet his great betrothed? Ji-hoo asked Jong-yul that she knows about those who died. The girl confirmed that she had heard about this new thing. Toady young man has come to the conclusion that I will lose the commandment. And this commandment will be read by the lawyer, if all the people are gathered, as in the new revelation. It is your duty to be present at the read commandment, because I will tell you by name. Young-yul asked in shock why I was going to remember her name and her commandment. Ji-hoo believes that he doesn't know what grandfather was thinking about. But melodiously, he doesn't even love her. The girl said that she had one commandment, because she no longer wanted to be associated with the Young-hoon group. Vaughn added that the pennies of his homeland should not be wasted either. Ji-hoo said that I would grow up differently. The young man kissed the girl so that there would be no more stink, after the stinks would lead to the ceremony of voicing the commandment. Jong-yul confirmed that she didn't want to go there. Toady Ji-hoo said that they all knew one thing from their homeland, and she knows for sure how unacceptable these people are. The girl still wanted to go to the ceremony, so the man said that Jin-hyuk asked to convey this message to him, so that I would leave a sheet for her. Young-yul tisked that it was a leaf for her, so the girl thought that just go there and take the letter to the lawyer. Vaughn added that she should not replace the commandment. The girl asked Ji-hoo to let her go and not make jokes anymore after this ceremony. The man waited and the stench came home and went to Grandpa Ji's cabin. A girl came to Ji-hoo's attention, as Young-yul already knew well. Sebula Yogo Mensha's sister. She told her brothers that everyone was already waiting for them in the middle of the house. Jong-yul received an unpleasant look from Sister Ji-hoo. When the stench reached the booth, Yul asked Hoo to go to the hall first. The girl went to the ladies' room to wash herself off. When she left the hospital, she noticed that Ji-hoo did not go to the hall, but stood by the door and checked for her. Yul instilled in him why he was following her. Alaku turned out and walked to the hall. Raptovo, he stammered, and Jong-yul crashed into him. The stench smelled at the man who looked at her in such a way that the girl became scared. Yul said hello, but that man did not confirm anything and was heard from the hall. Ji-hoo asked the girl that she was not going to let him go. Jung-yul gently grabbed the man, hugging him around the waist, but grabbed him behind his back. Hoo said that it was time for them to go to the hall. The girl wanted to gather her strength and leave him at the same time. Jung-yul realized that she just needed to get over it. When the doors opened to the hall, she immediately noticed unpleasant glances at her. Yul felt, as they say about her, that she came on the dime of her homeland. Ji-hoo's aunt said that she was determined not to bother her anymore. Aunt Ban-jen added that it was impossible to bring a person with an unknown history back to his homeland. Fona said that this girl came here and smelled the smell of pennies. Ji-hoo asked his aunt to pose as his companion in front of everyone. Tim, moreover, there is no longer any connection to the Young-hoon group. Then he added that he would no longer treat this girl after being blinded by the commandment. Ji-hyuk Sunbae, Ji-hoo's brother, saying that the stench cannot be overcome, read the commandment until tomorrow evening. Yunak chuckled and instructed Jung-yul to sit down on the stolka. The girl chided him for his attentiveness. Since she couldn't keep up here, she sat down next to him. The relatives asked the lawyer to read the commandment. The lawyer caught the envelope and opened it. The man asked all those present to listen to the commandment of the late Ban Hen-shik and to dispense with any respect before his replacement. From now on, the eldest son of the late Bang Hyun-shik, Bang Jaemin, was appointed as a ceramist of the Chong-hoon group. This is the same person that Jong-yul was so angry with, and also entrusting Bang Ji-hoo to control Bang Ji-hee's part in the Karuvan Company after he graduated from the university. The role of the manager of the New York branch of Young-hoon, which is now occupied by Bang Ji-hoo, is transferred to the general manager, who is now responsible for the branch. The late Ban Hyun-shik stated in his covenant that his daughter-in-law Kim Song-hee must transfer the ownership of the gallery from the Chung-hoon Cultural Foundation to the Chung-hoon Entertainment Company, and also give the Chu Gallery to Chung In-yul. Based on this, the shares of the Young-hoon Gallery are to blame for being transferred to Jung In-yul. After these words from the lawyer, a buzz began in the hall. The woman started screaming that she didn't understand why she had to give up the gallery. The lawyer continued to read the commandment. The first Onuk, Bang Ji-hoo, was appointed president of the Jong-hoon Network. Because of the sudden collapse of all minds, the role of the president will be transferred to the next in a recession. Ban Ji-hoo is not allowed to share the fate of the Karuvan Company until the extinction of all minds. Also, you cannot go to the New York branch of the company. Voices in the hall began to discuss what Ji-hoo had done to the Kalepa through their foolish minds. First of all, Ban Ji-hoo is obliged to make friends for the next 3 months after the announcement of the commandment. It was Jong In-yul who was to blame for his squad, as she was captured by him earlier. Ban Ji-hoo is obliged to live at once in one breath after having fun. Otherwise, the commandment of the mind will not be conquered. In other words, the triviality of a whore is guilty of at least one fate. However, after the completion of one role, their love will not be transferred to Bang Ji-hoo's rights in the Japanese company. In addition, Chong In-yul may accompany the person on all official visits. Assuming that there will be no fun for her, Bang Ji-hoo will be fired as the president of the company in 3 months. Ji-hoo looked at Jung-yul in shock. Thirdly, the love will be carefully laid. The child Young In-yul will be accepted, like the child Ban Ji-hoo. This child will become a descendant of the motherland Jung-hoon group. Ji-hoo was amazed when he sensed about the child. The girl had never seen such minds since her grandfather. Ji-hoo's aunt, Kim Song-hee, screamed that she knew all along that this girl was very cunning. Wona said that Jung-yul married Ji-hoo on the day of her marriage, and then her father fooled her into writing such a commandment. Bang Ji-hyuk tried to stop his mother. Alia, the woman, lived on. Wona said that Jong-yul went to Ji-hoo before another person and gave birth to his child. Ban Jaemin asked everyone to calm down and calm down. He added that Lawyer Pak would follow up on this so that all the commandments would be vindicated, and all others can return to their positions and lose their active roles. When everyone started to disperse, Ji-hoo asked Jung-yul to check for him in the guest room. In the girls' room, the phone rang. Jisoo asked why she was so busy today. Chung-yul confirmed that the term documents appeared in her. The girl asked, "Why don't she boast about her son?" Chung-yul said that she should turn around soon. Yul asked Jisoo to stay with Ubin for a little while longer, and for the 6th evening she would prepare a delicious dinner for them. The girl confirmed that this proposition was appropriate for her. Young-yul sensed Ubin's voice on the phone and told her son that they should spend a few more minutes, because Matusa needs to be processed. And now you need to play with your aunt until mom turns around. The boy said that he wanted curry for dinner, and Chong-yul asked her sons to prepare this herb. The girl didn't notice that Ji-hoo had left the room. Vona told her son that she loved him so much and would soon turn back home. When Young-yul laid down her rumor, Ji-hoo walked up to her and pressed her to the wall. The man said that his mood was richer than he thought. The girl confirmed that she just wanted to take the sheets from her grandfather and drink home. Ji-hoo asked her how many fates her sons had. Young-yul lowered her eyes and said that you don't need to know anything about her child. Yunak added that 5 years ago there was no son in her. We let go of what she gave birth to after the passing of the new one. Ji-hoo said that this child is guilty of 3 fates, or else. The girl quietly confirmed that her sons had 5 fates. Yunak laughed at the fact that they, by their name, were in a hurry to have a child. Young-yul shouted at him because he will never tell other people who think they don't care about what they like. Ji-hoo believes that this is not the case with the one with whom he is negotiating, having added that people will always take away what they deserve. Chung-yul asked him to change her clothes and give her a sheet so that she could go home. Ji-hoo confirmed that he never said that he had this leaf. The girl asked in shock that she was not joking. The man said that it seems to be true. Todi Chung-yul said that she didn't feel like bothering here, so she walked to the door. Ji-hoo ordered her to complete all her tasks within 3 months and move on to a new life. The girl turned around and asked, even though she was going to say everything in her mind to her grandfather's commandment. The man believes that she has 3 months to move to her home. Chung-yul said that it was because of reason. Ji-hoo asked how she managed to fool everyone, flow out of this desertion and give birth to a new child. The girl asked what it was about. The man is convinced that he was born, as he flowed with his closest friend at the day of their guarantees. Ji-hoo began to shake Young-yul out of anger. Vona asked him to stop, and she continued to confess as she told him what was going on with him, and she herself was with this abandonment. And perhaps I was happy. Chung-yul said that she has no right to portray that person and child. Ji-hoo abandoned the girl for a forgery, and said that he himself did not want to live with her for a whole river at once. Having asked her to live a whole river with him and then drink, nothing would have happened otherwise. The girl said that his son was not guilty of anything. Ji-hoo said that he is guilty of the fact that he was born as his son, and Pishoff. Early in the morning, the secretary brought documents with information about Jung In-yul to director Ji-hoo. They remembered a child, her son with the nickname of her mother, Chon Ubin. Ji-hoo asked what information there was about her person. The deputy said that Jung In-yul was never married and was not separated. Currently, the girl works as an illustrator. Because her child is still quite small, the girl works at home. Their main client is Night Viewer. Ji-hoo was surprised that this company had been acquired by his grandfather, and there were many fates for that. The man thought about how it happened that Chong-yul spent the entire hour working in the company of her grandfather. And also, as the minister Ji Gukchon from the Cheonil group knows, he is Onuk. And having assumed that perhaps through the branch manager, Ji Young was transferred to England. Then the man realized that their guarantors were at the breast, and the child was born in anticipation of the oncoming fate. This meant that the child was born after she had flown with his friend. Ji-hoo immediately resents them even more. The secretary told Ji-hoo that branch manager Ji Young-woo of the Cheonil group could gain custody of the child. And then the stench stinks in a difficult situation. Ji-hoo believes that if he earns money like this, they will know that Jong-yul is not selfish. He added that Ji Young can add his son's name to the home registry. This means that Jung In-yul will be Ji Young's squad, and Ji Woo-bin will be his son. The director added that this is not the right situation for him to be so timid. The secretary asked the director that he was convinced that his father's child was Ji Yeon's closest affiliate. Ji-hoo said so, and asked about the nearest reinforcement. Deputy of the Armed Forces, one flight is planned for tomorrow. The director ordered his secretary to stay here and fly himself, the man asked, and the director of the chance at his place. Ji-hoo explained that Jung-yul could come in as long as he wasn't there. Tom instructs him to keep an eye on her. When the secretary of the company, Jung In-yul, called director Bang Ji-hoo's office phone and asked to speak with the director of the company. Every time if you feel her voice, then you will say the words. My heart was still beating in my chest. The wrath that had been with him before this one fell like a rapt. The girl said that she wanted to get together with him tomorrow. Ji-hoo confirms that a business meeting in another country is planned in the future. Chong-yul asked to contact her after the meeting. A week later, Chong-yul arrived at the office of the Chung-hoon group. She went to the toilet to calm down a little before the fight. The girl guessed that Ji-hoo's secretary, Ha Tae-hoon, called her in the evening and told her that the director had turned around, worried. He asked if he could meet with him tomorrow. Chong-yul confirmed that we can. The deputy said that the director will check on her tomorrow about another year after lunch on the 12th side of the Chung-hoon group headquarters. And the axis. There stood white mirror at the dressing room and turned dark. And it was her fault to wait on this whore. That girl knew that she would not be allowed to choose. Hopefully if you let him in, Ji-hoo will be there. Jung-yul thought that she would try to politely talk to him about it. When the girl arrived at the reception, the secretary informed the director that Jung In-yul had arrived earlier, which was scheduled for another day. The director ordered to let Yi through. Jong-yul went to the office and waited on Ji-hoo there. He wears his business suit as always. The man greeted him coldly, inviting the girl to sit down on the sofa. She looked at a lot of papers on the table and guessed that she had always been a workaholic. The secretary brought them drinks, Americana for the director and green tea for the girl. Ji-hoo asked the secretary to bring another cup of Americano. Chong-yul was delighted that she had not forgotten that she was allergic to green tea. When the secretary went, having asked the girl for a man, she finally wanted to get along with him. Jung-yul said that she had been fainting for a long time, so she could marry someone else. I believed that she was not ready for anything. Ji-hoo confirmed that this does not have any significance, and they have already discussed this. So the girl told me to work because I don't want the stink. The man believes that he didn't say that. Jong-yul guessed to you that she said that she didn't want to live with her. Ji-hoo added that she misunderstood him. When the secretary brought another cup of kv, Ji-hoo said that he wouldn't mind anyone's whore, because only we can completely avoid the declines of the Chung-hoon group. Jung-yul admitted, embarrassed, that there might be another way. Ji-hoo confirms that this commandment has deprived him of his grandfather, the leader of the Chung-hoon group, and all of its subsidiaries. And in about an hour this will be announced to the directors, so there is no other option for them. The girl quietly said, no, and Ji-hoo said that you can go out. When the man turned away, Jung-yul grabbed his hand and kissed Ji-hoo. Having escaped from her hands, the girl suddenly slammed down her cup of coffee. Hot kava spilled on her feet. The girl screamed in pain and Ji-hoo became even more angry for her. He quickly picked her up and took her to the doctor's office. While the Stinks were checking for the doctor, Jung-yul guessed how Ji-hoo had heard about her earlier, and she laughed. The man asked why she would laugh so much, otherwise nothing would hurt in her. Ji-hoo gave the girl an ointment for opiates, having prescribed a medicine for her, and asking him to inform him if she needed anything. Jung-yul shouted at you for her additional help. When the girl came to her friend, she asked how she had passed away from Ji-hoo. Jung-yul confirmed that these are not the kind of people who get along so quickly. To that, she added that she had already spent the rakunok, how many times she tried to get it. A friend said that her lover is even more serious on the right, and we can earn everything we can with her. Chung-yul agreed with her friend that she was guilty of the fact that she would not do to her the way she wanted. Chung-yul's phone rang and she was told that she needed to urgently book booth rentals. The girl asked in shock why everything turned out so badly. The woman confirmed that she had been trying to sell her for a long time, and today a buyer showed up, having paid a large sum of pennies. So they immediately signed the sales contract. Chung-yul said that she has no choice but to move as a child. The woman confirmed that she could get in touch with the new boss in the budinka and get home with him. When Jung-yul sensed that she was the new boss of her budinka, she immediately ran to Ji-hoo. "O Koronet Zupaniv Yi." The girl screamed that it was her responsibility to meet with the director. The man explained that the director needs to register with his secretary a few days in advance. Chung-yul confirmed that she already needed to talk to him today. Ji-hoo asked the girl about the steps before them, but she didn't feel that she had said it well. "We add that we can't get along with him without getting home about the sustrich." Jung-yul screamed that she had wickedly bought her little house from the front lord in order to drive her out of the house. Ji-hoo calmly believes that the stench can be fun in another place. At the cafe, a man asked Chung-yul to tell her what she needed since she was too busy. The girl said that she couldn't leave her cabin. Ji-hoo added that this is not the same food as in the mind of the world. Jung-yul asked why he was so cruel in relation to her. Vaughn added that she knows that she has nowhere to go. Then Chung-yul said that in this manner she was simply talking through those who did not want to marry anyone. Ji-hoo believes that you can think whatever you want. The girl didn't know that she was now trying to encourage her to make friends. The man was surprised that she was so reluctant to love him. Chung-yul confirmed that she still won't calm down until she gives up what she wants. Therefore, it is suitable for a fictitious slub in a line for 1 rig, as indicated in the commandment. Ji-hoo stood up and said that next year we could go to New York, and at that time we could go to our new home. The girl was good enough, but she said that you won't bring your son to the ward before. Ji-hoo was very surprised, and Jung-yul explained that I follow my commandment without asking them to live in the morning. She told Tom that she wanted to spend an hour with her son every day, and with him at night. The man believes that you can work whatever you want and eat from the cafe, having lost one. 2 years have passed since Ji-hoo turned from work and went to his bed. Who knew that In-yul had to move until she was in New York? The man grew large over this so that he could not sleep, even if it was already quite late. Then he cooked for himself for those who decided to move to the new one, having specially bought these booths. In fact, there is no investment value whatsoever. And another way to start a campaign, besides a scam, could have been found. Vin, on the other hand, desperately tried to make friends with her. Jung-yul did not sleep. Vona marveled at the phone and wondered if Ji-hoo would come home today. The girl did not understand why she decided to move here, since she had been separated for so long. She was watching Ubin's photos on her phone and was busily running after her son. Yul wondered how the boy would cry every time he went out, and she felt even more confused. The girl quickly wiped away her tears, feeling the entrance doors open. She came out to the corridor and chatted with Ji-hoo there. Jung-yul greeted him, but he was in love with her. Vona said that she knows about those who have lived a week at the hotel and turned away from their exhaustion. The man asked what's wrong. The girl confirmed that you can change everything until it's too late. Chung-yul added that they should not live together. She's not comfortable here and she's specially unique because she's living in the hotel. Ji-hoo Vidpov, you can't handle it. The man added that only he believes that he needs to work, and she has no right to vote in that booth. The girl asked, as one might say. Ji-hoo angrily squeezed her to the wall and said that she herself wanted to come before, and was good for this fictitious whore. He added that now she has to think about how to get rid of her clothes. Then the man said that from now on he will come to his friend's house. That's why it's entirely up to you to play the role of a good friend, and apparently not to think about those to get involved. Ji-hoo let him go and peace off. Young-yul sat on the couch and cried. The French girl woke up and went to the kitchen to prepare some food. It's not like my wound has arrived yet, but Ji-hoo is already ready to go to work. Jong-yul was surprised that she had not slept yet. When she looked in the refrigerator, she didn't find anything there except alcohol. Yul decided to buy some products from the store after her walk with Ubin. Vaughn caught herself in the Duma that she was already transforming into the current squad. Feeling the bell, the girl went straight to the door. As soon as she opened the door, Mr. Taehoon greeted her. Yul wondered what had brought him before her so early. Ji-hoo's secretary, Mr. Taehoon Vidpoviv, knows about those who leave the house early to take his son to the kindergarten. Tom brought her documents for her husband. The assistant informed Ji-hoo that he had delivered the registration form to Young-in Yul, and your dad's lawyer, Mr. Park, will take care of adding the child to the home registry. Ji-hoo was surprised that his father was especially busy with this. Mr. Taehoon said that he has no intention of taking over this whore. Even the worldly spirit is already sensitive to walking. And, as everyone knows about those who are the child of Ji-yeon, a maker of the Cheonil group, they will say that the president of the Jung-hoon group, having broken up his homeland and taken away his squad from his best friend. Ji-hoo pondered over the words of his assistant and asked him why he wanted to become friends with Chong-yul. You can also make friends with any possible girls. Mr. Tekken believes that it seems to you that this commandment was written only for the sake of making friends with this girl, and only the food supply is deprived. In the evening, Young-yul left the store with a full bag of groceries. She picked up all the offal, and the bag turned out to be very important, so it suited him well. Raptum, a black car hovered in front of the girl from Mr. Taehoon. He asked the girl to help him get her home. The girl said that she wanted to buy a few groceries, but there was absolutely nothing in the refrigerator at home. Vona said that we could call a taxi since he was in a hurry. The man asked Young-yul to get into the car and drive her home. While the Stinks were driving, Mr. Taehoon asked, what did they do today until the next day and how did they get help? The girl said that today she went on an excursion and took first place there at the hour of play in search of the lieutenants. Young-yul rummaged through those that she didn't get the chance to spend more than an hour with him. Having realized that the girl's mood had simmered, the man decided to change the subject and asked what she was planning to cook for the evening. Yul happily told you about soybean paste with zucchini. Ji-hoo didn't understand why Secretary Taehoon had screwed him over like that. The man thought that the deputy is important, that he works a lot and requires a little attention. As soon as Ji-hoo opened the entrance doors, he immediately smelled the aroma of delicious homemade hedgehogs. Having finished playing on the table, I realized that this is the reason why he was kicked out of work. There was a fight there who loves wine, and the secretary Taehoon knows about it. Ji-hoo chuckled and asked Jong-yul to have fun with him. You believe that she is in her room, or on the way there, knowing that she is sleeping on the sofa in the living room. The man quietly said that you can sleep in your bed if you want to sleep. Young-yul chuckled in her sleep and began to call him to herself. Ji-hoo smirked and kissed her on the lip. The girl snapped and sighed. She started crying and asked to let her go. The man said that it was all a good thing and then peace off, and Yul cried all night in her room. The girl went to Zranka to her sister and mother, with whom Ubin lives. Han Jisoo asked her sister why she was crying. It's not because of those who got into trouble with Ji-hoo. Chung-yul asked why should they cook since the stink of fake steam. Ubin ran up to her and rushed to hug his beloved mother. The boy knew that he was already following her, and asked if they could live together again. Chung-yul confirmed that with just a little more cash, she could take him with her. In the meantime, I'm guilty of being rumored and living for a little while with Aunt Jisoo and Grandma. The boy waited a moment and the stench wreaked havoc on the walk with Aunt Jisoo. Towards the hour of their walk, young Yul noted that she wanted to follow them. The girl got angry and told everyone to go somewhere to have lunch at once so that they could go out of the park. At home, while preparing dinner, Jung Yul began to think about how Ji-ho could hire a person to watch over her if they were walking with their sons. This was explained by the fact that the stench was wrapped in the presence of the secretary, Mr. Taehoon. She wondered what she would feed into him if Ji-hoo came home from work. The girl again prepared food for her beloved, and Ji-hoo was more than pleased. Having noticed what the squad wanted to tell him, he asked him to tell him. Young Yul said that they should register the love interest as they wish, and she strives to live a whole river with him at once. So ask him to follow her and his son. Ji-hoo was already shocked by this mess and asked what had happened. The girl explained that she felt uncomfortable walking with her son if she wanted to take care of them. It's even more important that Ubin can point this out. The man kissed Young-yul, hesitant to follow them, and Ji-hoo himself telephoned his assistant secretary Tae-hun and asked him to tell him something. The next day, Ji-hoo's mother called Young-yul to have lunch with her at a restaurant. The woman said that she understood how surprised Yul was that the smells had gotten together. The girl confirmed that everything was fine. So the woman asked why she didn't take her son with her, since the stinks from Ji-hoo had already laid the whore and registered the child. Chung-yul confirmed that she still lives with her sister, and she takes him to the kindergarten. In such a manner it stinks to spend a little time at a time. Kim Song. He asked that she would bring Ubin to his house. The girl answered no, so the woman asked her to immediately take the child home with her. Even a hungry mother is not guilty of being separated from her child. Young-yul said that she was afraid that Woo Bin would not be good in Ji-hoo's eyes. I don't want this child to suffer. The woman asked that she really appreciates that they will be put in a bad way to the boy through those who are not his own son. Vaughn reassured the girl that Ubina was registered by Ji-hoo's son. This means that he is the sole descendant of the Chung-hoon Group company. So if Ubin continues to live in Ji-hoo's house, the whole company will lie down to Ji-hoo's behavior until his son. That's why the dads are trying to kill the child at once. Mother Ji-hoo added that she already believes that Young-yul will make the right choice, and everything will change for the better. Chung-yul said that everything makes sense. She just needs a little time. The woman checked with her and said that there was another one on the right that they needed to discuss. The gallery Chung-hoon Group is here. The girl confirmed that she was inspired by the gallery and the action on it. Vona added that it was easy to separate from Ji-hoo through the river. Kim Sun-hee said that she understands that the girl does not want to be associated with the Young-hoon Group. Otherwise, if she is convinced of her actions, the company will end up in chaos. And so, since the situation in their homeland is quite complicated, the woman is afraid to spend what her father, man and son worked so hard on. Yul said that she understands. Then Ji-hoo's mother said that the girls needed to learn how to work in the gallery because she didn't want to mess with her. And this is the specialty. This is the design. Therefore, by observing the work of designers at the gallery, you can learn how to work with a team of designers, understand the secret situation, and understand the rules of work. Jung-yul was happy and had nourished her husband and her mother, and will soon start her business as soon as she crosses the river. And also, what do people say? The woman said that it doesn't sound like that. Otherwise, we can't go to work because we're afraid of people. Young-yul said that this is not true at all. Vona simply thought that she had to sit quietly. I thought it would be nicer for Ji-hoo. Besides, you won't be able to study with your son if you're going to work, because you'll need to take care of the gallery all day. Kim Song-hee said that people are closely watching the developments in the Young-hoon Group, and we must immediately note that the gallery will be incompetent, and it will be detrimental to the reputation of the homeland. The woman added that she was praising his drive so much not for her sake, but for the sake of her son, who is in the first place. And why Ubina is worried. Her new grandmother decided to pay attention to the food and find someone who would spend an hour with him if her mother was at work. Young-yul asked her mother-in-law for help and chided her for help. As the woman was leaving, she told the girl that she was in love with the fact that secrets are not kept forever, and besides, what she knows may not be true. So she asked the girl to look at the world more broadly. Young-yul didn't understand what she was talking about. After a few days, when the girl was preparing dinner, Ji-hoo said that they needed to talk. Jung-yul sat on the sofa and prepared to listen. I started from what I felt about those who met with my mother. And having admitted that through those in the company there are a lot of rumors about the promotions and gallery, she took the initiative on herself. Chung-yul said that she couldn't spend an hour with her child because she was going to work at the gallery. Ji-hoo suddenly burst out and said that he had assigned security to Ubin, and that same man, whoever you were talking about, is going to die. The girl was angry that trouble was threatening her son, and she decided to think about it in order to transfer him here. Then she asked the man that they didn't say anything about the fact that the girl from the corner would be holding the Young-hoon Group gallery. Ji-hoo believes that they are sensitive to each other, but their marriage cannot be achieved without them. All the same, everyone discussed his recognition as the president of the company and his name. The man added that there will be criticism, which will need to be endured for the sake of the company. Young-yul said that in truth, she already swears about the Young-hoon Group. Jihu Vidpov, who is on the right of his homeland, on whom I will live, having spent all my life. The man added that there is a person in him who can definitely talk about Ubin. Young Yul chuckled. Who can do it? Vindaviv, what is this old auntie who saw him when he was little? The girl laughed and said that she remembers her. Then Jihu said that we would check for her going out to work at the gallery, and would pick her up on Friday evening before his recognition as the president of the campaign. If Jihu was already getting ready to go, if Jong Yul yelled at you for her help. Ji Huishov left the room, having drawn a few reds, and thinking about the fact that this girl was making his heart beat faster. Jihu's aunt, Bang Jen, was extremely angry. Vaughn told her lieutenants that her late father was completely sane before his death. Ajay. No matter how much she didn't ask him to open the agency of discovery for her son, she didn't hear about her. And now, having deprived the dying gallery of a girl with an unknown past. Then the woman asked the assistant that she had learned something about the father and child. You can be sure that you are trying very hard to connect with this drive, and also the folding parts. Because all the information about Mrs. Chong In Yul is available only since she began to deal with the night view. It is completely impossible to find out traces of her previous life. The deputy admitted that he was specially trying to capture information about her. Ban Jen said in a sing-song voice, "What kind of person watches her back?" Vaughn let out what could be the father's child. Alay's wife guessed how Jung Yul cried for Ji Hu when they were separated. The deputy guessed about tomorrow's inauguration, and asked whether Director Min Tae-hoon and Mrs. Sayen would be present. Banjun confirmed that there is nothing for her children to do there. At noon before Ji-hoo's inauguration, Jung Yul bought clothes from the most popular store. Vlasnik store Zustriv Yi especially. Having greeted the girl and asked how close the stench was to Mrs. Ban Ji-hee, she signed her up for fitting. Jung Yul felt a little uncomfortable in the face of his mischief. The man said that he had picked out a bunch of outfits for her. First of all, do your hair and makeup in order to select the cloth correctly. Ji-hoo told his secretary that the stinkers might already be coming for his squad. Mr. Tae-hoon told the director that he looked wonderful in his new suit, like the current president of the company. The man squealed and the stench wreaked havoc on the store's clothes. In the car, Secretary Tae-hoon found out that Ji Guk-jeon from Cheonil Group was on the list of people requested for inauguration. But Director Ji Young is not on this list. Ji-hoo said, "It's good. I really wanted to be a little embarrassed." When the stench arrived at the store, Chong Yul was still at the fitting room. Vlasnik slept with the girl in the store, and all is well. Vaughn said that you can feel the tiny bits in this cloth. So when Jung Yul came out of the fitting room, Ji-hoo was shocked. The designer said that the girl looks gorgeous, and the cloth sits on her just perfectly. Jung Yul tagged Ji-hoo and ruined herself. Then she poured it into someone who doesn't look amazing. The man mumbled because he was impressed by her beauty. Vlasnik told the girl at the store that there's simply no sense in him, so it's too much. Vin began singing that Yul would be the leader at the ceremony. Then the designer told the girl that she could come before now if she wanted to dress up for the evening. But he promised to earn it in such a way that a person would not pass through it. Ji-hoo told Jung Yul that they had to leave now, and pulled her by the hand to the car. The designer asked Ji-hoo why he came for this girl, and never mind the stench of steam. The man pressed Jung Yul close to him and said that they are friends. Ji-hoo added that his squad is not going to celebrate any evenings and gain the respect of other people. As they rode in the car, Ji-hoo said that his aunt Bang Jen would also be present at the inauguration. Vin began to sing and talk about those so that she didn't respect him. In fact, the man asked Jung Yul to be with him in the future so that he could be kidnapped. Then Ji-hoo asked his assistant, and they blocked the entrance for the snakes. Mr. Tae-hoon said that there will be no outsiders at the inauguration. Then he returned to Chung Yul with groans to further show his affection for the man. Ajay, the stench is to blame for the behavior of a couple who have become close friends. Once they arrived and entered the hall, the ceremony began. Everyone sat at the tables and marveled at the stage. At the hour of the break, Chung Yul went to the toilet in order to take a few minutes to eat. She marveled at how Ji-hoo was able to withstand such sad looks and looks from people. When the girl came out of the toilet in the corridor, she rubbed Cheonil Group Ji Guk-jeong on her head. The man, after shaking her, began to scream as if she dared to come here. Jung Yul was ruined and didn't know what the news was. At this moment before her, Ji-hoo told the people that she had asked for a girl for her inauguration. Then the president shook Ji-guk-jung's head for those who knew the right time to come here. The man is convinced that he must come to greet him. He also added that business buddies are impatiently watching with the new president of the Chung-hoon Group Company. Ji-hoo confirmed that he is trying hard to fulfill his wishes. The man said goodbye to them and finished. Toady Ji-hoo told Jong-yul that the stinks might already be heading home. Titka Bon-jen sensed that the stink was about to come, and she came up to them. The woman asked why the president of the company was leaving so early. Ji-hoo confirmed that he has completed his task and can now be free. Tim, moreover, his squad is already tired. Bon-jen said that all the people had gathered here for the sake of something new, and they should leave. Man, it's important to avoid the stink only for the sake of looking good before the cleaning. They said goodbye and headed out the door, and the aunt began to imitate Chong-yul, adding that she did not understand the significance of today's inauguration. Ji-hoo squeezed the girl close to her and told her aunt that she still hasn't realized that she has no right to represent his squad. That's why you should be attentive to her. Bon-jen sat in her car and was already turned off. The woman smiled at her because she wanted her to be recognized as the aunt of the president of the Young-hoon Group. Having asked for water, where to take it, Bon-jen realized that she had already appeared so she could go home. The woman wondered about this, as Ji-guk-jung's head knows Young and Yul. She thought the same about those who have a reason to be angry with her. Aji couldn't have done it through the fact that she had broken the deal with her son's friend. Bang Jen believed that the branch manager and Ji-hoo were not close enough to get along with each other. And this anger is definitely addressed to Young and Yul herself. Not knowing the answer to her power supply, the woman called her assistant and asked him to know what Young and Yul and Cheonil Group were associated with. Turning home, Jong-yul sat down on the sofa to get some rest. Ji-hoo asked her friends, but she was not very tired at the inauguration ceremony. The girl confirmed that she just wanted to go to sleep. When she got up from the sofa, she didn't show her jealousy and fell down. Ji-hoo grabbed her and squeezed her close to him. The man started kissing Chong-yul and the girl gave in to you. The parents spent the night together. In the morning, Ji-hoo woke up first and marveled at the sleeping girl. Having guessed what happened between them at night, they lost the red ones. In fact, there weren't any plans for today. But Ji-hoo still decided to go to work. He kissed the sleeping squad and told them that he would turn back soon. Jong-yul jumped up and immediately went to her son. When the boy hugged them dearly in the presence of the beetle, she said that soon they would live together, in 10 days. Every day Mom goes to work. Jong-yul has grown up with her sons and lives with her mother's friend. The lad has fed on the man's chia and lives on the stench. The girl confirmed that this man is a very good person, although sometimes he gets stuck in. Yes, all the same, he is miraculous and sweet, like Ubin. Jong-yul told her sons that she would soon take him away. In the office, Mr. Tae-hoon told the president that there was a lot going on in the company for his 100 years from Jung-yul. Ji-hoo believes that this happens, and soon her obsession will subside. The director asked the deputy why he was so sick. Tae-hoon believes that he trusts that Ji-hoo works as his heart tells him. Jung-yul sat on the sofa in the evening in front of the TV and watched Ji-hoo. It seemed like she turned around at that hour 5 years ago. When the man arrived, the girl quickly jumped off the sofa and ran to sneeze at my hedgehog. Ji-hoo asked what he had not eaten yet, because he wanted to have dinner with his squad at the same time. The girl was already pleased to be respectful to him. France Ji-hoo put on his suit and got ready to go to work. I looked at the room before Chong-yul, and there it was already ready. Once in the car, Ji-hoo asked his secretary what the schedule was for today. Mr. Tae-hoon Vidpov, that nothing is planned in the beginning, but as a matter of fact, everything is planned out. There will be meetings with the company's executives for the next year, and a meeting is planned for the 4th year, where the results of the marketer's business trip to Hong Kong will be presented. Ji-hoo asked Tae-hoon that for a long time the stench had gone around all the companies. The man added that he wanted to greet everyone after his recognition as the president of the company. Mr. Tae-hoon chuckled and asked why today was Mrs. Young and Yul's first day at work. Ji-hoo chuckled and said nothing. Karivnik from the design department was introduced by Chong-yul to her colleagues, showed her the working place and encouraged her to adapt quickly. Everyone greeted the girl nicely with splashes. One young man asked the potter that it would be a vital evening. The woman asked Chong-yul that she was not against such a party, because it was a tradition of their team. The girl said that you don't mind. Toady the potter said that everyone should start working, so she left. Just as she left, new colleagues began to approach Chong-yul. Kozin wants to get to know her. Wrapped, one young man came running and informed us that before them, the president of the company, Bang Ji-hoo, was in the office in order to check his work. All the girls immediately began to groom themselves and comb their hair. The boys started talking about how bad the smell was today. Young-yul did not experience such behavior. One guy told her that in other companies they have to restore order in their workplaces. But in the Chung-hoon Group company, they have to keep everything in order, both women and men. One girl said that she was seeing the president of the company today, and she looked perfect and was even handsome. Another guy said that he looks like a regular movie theater. Another girl said that this is a real gift, that today it is bequeathing to them. Vona admitted that Jong-yul is her talisman of good luck. Because she quickly came to talk to them, the president decided to go to them. The girl said that it was all a dream. She didn't even want them to know the truth. President Bang Ji-hoo walked through his companies. Mr. Tahoon told you that the stink goes straight to the design. Vin's Radiv show decide treat yi. Karivnik Vidaloo was greeted by the president of the company and said that it was a very pleasant surprise for them. Get out of here. Ji-hoo confirms that the design team creates a special atmosphere. Vin glanced furtively at Young-yul. The woman guessed the presidents that they took first place among all the divisions during the timely assessment of the performance of the company's teams. Karivnitsia also added that they are planning a big party with the arrival of a new employee to their team. Vaughn urged the president to finish his meal before this evening. Ban Ji-hoo confirms that he has done a lot of good things in the new world, but that's another time. We said goodbye to each other and have a good time. And Chung-yul lost her time to sit and was tortured by those who did not show respect to her at all. It was late in the evening, and when Ji-hoo turned home there was no one there. Vin was surprised that Jong-yul was still working. The man thought that the design was not harming his workers. Then Ji-hoo was amazed that he was praising Young-yul so much. It is impossible to live at once for more than a few years. You don't understand what you want from these wines. When Jong-yul turned back home, she basked the sleepy Ji-hoo on the sofa who was watching her. The girl felt excited and sat down on the sofa beside her boyfriend. I know that it's all the same. I don't feel it. She said that in the office she's a completely different person. Everyone adores their idol. People die about those without even looking at them. Chung-yul added that she understood that she was buried by him. That's why he's a wonderful person. That's the way it is. And there are 5 reasons for that. The girl said, if only... Vaughn didn't finish and went away. And Ji-hoo opens his eyes. Yum was really excited about what Young-yul wanted to tell Yum. But you don't want her to know what you overheard. Jong-yul only finished work when everyone was getting ready to go out for the evening. She phoned her son and said that tomorrow they will go for a walk together, because Matusya works a lot. Secretary Taehoon asked Ji-hoo if Jong-yul could drink alcohol. The man was surprised and asked, why should I bother? The deputy has confirmed that today's team is going to the bar, Mr. Taehoon asked, but didn't even know about the team formation party. Having added that, in fact, a vital evening is only a reason to get drunk. Ji-hoo began to wiggle through those places where Young-yul was quickly sleeping, as they would be mixing alcohol there. That Secretary Taehoon reassured us that tomorrow is a working day. Therefore, it is possible that the stench will emanate just a little and spread throughout the houses. Ji-hoo calmed down for a little while and turned his attention to his work. It was already very late and Jong-yul was not home yet. Ji-hoo is happy that he boasts so much about what can happen with her. Ji-hoo sat by the door and cooked for himself for those who had brewed it so quickly. Vin guessed that she told herself not to work for those she earned. Tim, moreover, why didn't she ask for a punishment? Find out if you feel that the entrance doors need to be opened with a key. Ji-hoo realized that his squad drank a lot of alcohol, so they couldn't open the doors. When she opened the door, the girl pointed her finger at him and said that he was the same, the popular president of the Chung-hoon Group, as everyone should be. Then she sat down in the corridor and said that she was in more pain. Ji-hoo asked what happened and how she went to the house. Young-yul began to cry and said that it was even more painful to bother her. The man hugged and kissed her. Then you go to the bedroom and start kissing her body. Ji-hoo was even more embarrassed because at the most telling moment the girl fell asleep. In my dreams, Chung-yul began to cry and asked for a punishment for those who had lost Yuma. The man doesn't understand why she's being punished, thinking about the fact that perhaps she didn't love him then. 5 fates to that. And what was more was given to her. He absorbed the tears from himself. as if everything had happened at once, as if he had followed her to the end. And I wondered how efficiently she was laying tabletops for Ji-young so that he could leave him at the hour of asking. Jong-yul woke up the alarm clock. The girl realized that she needed to get to work quickly. Vona was surprised that Ji-hoo slipped into the room. Then, in the bathroom, Chung-yul wondered why she hadn't smeared her makeup. Vaughn boasted through those that Ji-hoo studied in such a camp. Sitting in his office, Ji-hoo huffed and prompted Young-yul to come to work immediately. She specially set an alarm clock on her phone so that she wouldn't get late. Secretary Tae-hoon reported to the president that his squad was already taking the elevator to their headquarters. He added that his colleagues looked even tired after last night. The deputy asked everything from Mrs. Chung-yul after that evening. Ji-hoo vidpoviv no longer. Then the president asked what the paper envelope was in his hands. Tae-hoon vidpov. What is the information Yakvin punishing you to get it? There are a lot of people who re-examined Mrs. Chung In-yul and her child. Ji-hoo asked what people were on the other side of his Aunt Ban-jen. Mr. Tae-hoon vidpov, what's wrong? The head of the Chung-hoon Group Company, Bang Jae-min, stood before them. The president was very surprised, sensing that his father was following his squad. The deputy said that 3 people followed the skin of Chung In-yul and Ubin. By the way, by the children's garden, by the Han Jisu's hut, and by the way, by the same token, there was a lot of celibacy. Tae-hoon added that there were no evil intentions on their side. Ji-hoo, having thought about this, is still keeping an eye on his child's squad. Tae-hoon interrupted his thoughts and asked, and the president remembers about the day of the people's head. The man of faith remembers. Having added what to fate as I began to ring, the stench of the holy day was set in the father's houses. Tae-hoon said that it would be more holy than Chung-yul in their homeland. The girl went to the design office and saw that she was not late. Young-yul waved to her colleague, Mr. Han Seong. All the other colleagues were lying on their desks, exhausted after last night. Having asked Eunuch from the girl, she went home yesterday. Han Song realized that she was so drunk that he wanted to see her home, even though he was praising her. Chung-yul said that she was really embarrassed. The girl added that she was about to go home after she had slept a little, and she was spinning the wheels for the turbo. Han Song said that he couldn't contact her because he didn't have her phone number. Then he asked if he could take him home again. Young-yul chuckled and said that this time she will go home early and not bother anyone. Chung-yul and Jo-hee walked down the corridor, and she asked her colleagues why they should go to this meeting, where the president of the company would be present. Even if such selections are made, call and promote those who are higher in rank than them. For example, the pottery whittle. Jew. He let the president just take his seat. Therefore, it is worth working in order to understand the work of the company from the first hands of experienced workers. The girl told Chung-yul that she doesn't care about one, who is even more scrupulous. Then Ju-hee said that the civil servants, however, are afraid of getting to these gatherings through those that the president will show them not their favors. Ju-hee said that the new president of the building of such a great company is only due to the fact that he is so competent among the rich workers in the food supply. Karivnitsia Department of Design completed her report. The president of the company, Bang Ji-hoo, asked why all the progress that had been achieved so far. The woman confirmed that internal reconstruction is currently underway, and the opening of the exhibition is rapidly approaching. Vaughn added that it was their responsibility to finish before the exhibition. The president asked Karivnitsa that he believes it is normal that the renovation of the gallery premises will be completed the day before the exhibition. All those present were muttering. Then Ban Ji-hoo asked, and confirmed all the work that is indicated in this article, after a thorough assessment of the skin of them. Then we asked what the theme of the exhibition suggests. Karivnitsia confirmed that all these works are recommended by the Association of Illustrators. Ban Ji-hoo once again asked why he really appreciates that they represent the theme of the exhibition. Then the president asked how it turns out that the ceramic maker adopted the design and the robots, priming only on the cams of the Association of Illustrators, without checking them especially. In this manner, she did not believe that robots were approaching the theme of the exhibition. Then I asked the woman that she had done the same thing under the last president of the company. Bang Ji-hoo let go. So the Karivnitsa thought that the new president was young and there were misconceptions. The woman said that everything was wrong. She promised to get better. The president gave his task to correct everything and send him a new report about the progress of preparations for the exhibition before the end of this year. And also, having guessed about the need to complete the renovation of the gallery. When the president peeled off, all those present were relieved that the meeting was over. Jo-hee told Chung-yul that today there is definitely no chance of going home early. Everyone began to leave, and the designer asked Chung-yul to come to the conference room. The girl wondered how seriously Ji-hoo took his work. Jung-yul was cleaning up the conference room when the phone rang. The girl confirmed to Ji-young that she was also happy about it. Then she said that Ubin was already after him. Then she asked what is good and what is not sick. She told Ji-young that everything was fine and asked how she asked her. Jung-yul said that she was working. Ji-young wants to say something to her, but at this moment to the conference room of Ji-hoo. The girl was angry and put her ear down in front of the girl who was not sleeping. The president of the company took his pen from the table and his hands from the conference room. Jung-yul stood with the phone in her hands, but she didn't understand why they didn't come to her. The next day after work, Chung-yul went out onto the street. Han-sung arrived before her in his car and got out. Yoonok, having asked, was out there at the gallery. The girl confirmed that she had never been to the gallery before. Todi Han-song said that she will be more hostile. When the stinks came, so it happened. Chung-yul said that the gallery looks even better from the street. Colleagues believe that the first one on top of this is the gallery, and the top one is the Chung-hoon Group Cultural Foundation. Han-song said that he understands why the president is so angry. Because the renovation of this building has been completed for a long time, and the opening day of the exhibition is quickly approaching. Yoonok, having informed Chung-yul, marveled at how the repair of the gallery was being carried out. At this hour, Secretary Taehoon asked Ji-hoo and prepared a gift for Dad. The person believes that Ji-hee already talked about this. Even more so, even if he didn't give you a gift, Dad already has everything. Then Ji-hoo added that he had already given him a gift. Mr. Taehoon asked what he said about the contract with the Japanese company. The deputy said that this is the first important work since the inauguration. Then Taehoon told Ji-hoo that the Holy Supper would be held on Saturday of the 7th anniversary at the hotel restaurant. Ji-hoo said that he would go there himself. The secretary was already surprised and asked, even though the commandment did not say that his squad was responsible for removing everyone from him at once. Ji-hoo angrily confirmed that Father's National Day need not be celebrated with an official entry. Taehoon was embarrassed that Jung-yul would not be present at the first home party. In the office of the gallery director, the president was informed that his mother Ban-jen had already gone to dinner. Ji-hoo was embarrassed that he was late, and said that he wanted to have lunch with her at the same time. The president told his secretary that he would be back here in a year, and asked what was next for the schedule. Mr. Taehoon marveled at the tablet. The deputy of the Verkhovna Rada, that there is nothing important planned for this hour. They can check with the director in the gallery. Taehoon noticed that Ji-hoo couldn't hear anything, but why should one be surprised? The man turned around and walked behind him. Jung In-yul, who was standing with her colleague and huddle with the repairman. The president of the company is closer to them. Han-song, having noticed the president, greeted him and found out that they were checking the sound of repair robots in the gallery. Yoonok marveled at his colleague. The girl mumbled and told her that she needed to say hello. Jong-yul greeted the company's president Bang Ji-hoo. And Vin, don't stare at her, asking the lad how the repairs are going through. Han-song assured that everything will be as expected. Yoonok added that until then the stinks will be constantly moving into the gallery and monitoring the process of repair work. Having all heard from the president, the boy said that it was already time for them. Mr. Taehoon asked the president why he shouldn't be particularly surprised at the repair work, since it's still an hour. Ji-hoo didn't realize that he would have to sing from Jong-yul at the same time, but realized that he needed to earn something, and sing from them at the same time. Having suspended the cable on the underside, the president powered up, which is not safe. Han-song believes that if there is no smell, then everything will be fine. The president was convinced and added that this was not enough for him, so that we could sing to him who was not in trouble. The boy said that I need to go out in order to take care of this food. Chung-yul was glad that she could sing at once, that Mr. Taehoon asked her to give a tour for the president. The girl confirmed that this was only her first time here. Ale Taehoon Yi not heard, having said that I need to be released from the term and depriving them of themselves. If the stench was left alone, Ji-hoo asked his friend what he should do in his new job. Chung-yul confirmed that she only works for a few days, but people here are terrible. Then Ji-hoo asked her how he asked Ji-yeon. The girl was shocked by the food. Vona said that everything is not as she thinks. Without worrying about the cable, Jung-yul crossed her cap behind her leg. The girl fell into a fit, and the man asked why he had been hanging out with her all the time. The brightening of the beast began to fall on them, and Ji-hoo covered the squad with himself. The man was lying on the underside, covered in blood and in the corners of the cliff. Jung-yul screamed and tried to find out what Svetomosti was doing. At this cry, Mr. Taehoon came running to them. Having said that through the tricks of the glass, how to wash from your body, it's not easy for them to get wet and bleed for additional pressure. The secretary called the Swedish woman and I'll help you. Jung-yul cried and blessed the man to get rid of it. Ji-hoo opened his eyes and asked the squad not to shout so loudly, because it would give him a headache. The girl began to cry and said that she was to blame for what had happened. Having asked the man, she was not harmed. Jung-yul confirmed that everything was fine with her, because she was lying. Ji-hoo chuckled and said that it was radium, so she didn't suffer. After they looked at the man, Jung-yul poured into him what the doctor said. The man came out of the treatment room with a bandaged hand. He moved, and the squad continued to supply food to the drive of his wound. Jung-yul asked how many stitches they put on the side of her face. Ji-hoo, having realized that there was no way out, realized that the wound was approximately 10 centimeters. The girl was shocked by such a new thing. Before them, Mr. Taehoon came, and Jung-yul told you that it was really her fault. The secretary said, "What are the wine workers?" and not there, having added that they lost their materials for everyday life without sight, and unclearly completed their work. Therefore, the repairmen are responsible for taking all the blame. Ji-hoo waited a moment with his assistant and said that they needed to go to the office. Jung-yul was shocked that this man wanted to turn to work right away. Vona said that they wouldn't let him go anywhere, and they carefully put a bunch of stitches on his 10-centimeter wound. Mr. Taehoon also tried to get the president to go home. The assistant handed the envelope to Director Bang Genta, saying that his investigation showed that Cheonil Group Director Ji Young was constantly sending pennies to Young and Yul. The woman was already shaking and started drinking, because the stench was so close. Then she asked that Ji Young was born 2 years after Jung Yul died. The assistant to the leaders, Director Ji Yeon-woo, took part in the Cheonil Group, assisting the head of the company. Prot, there were no pennies on this bank for the remaining few months. Bang Jen guessed that Ji-hoo and Ji-yeon had such a valuable friendship, the kind that is rarely found in the world of possible people. Vona wondered why Chung-yul sponsored this whole family. The woman thought that the food was lying on the surface. Vaughn believed that there was child support. Todi Bang Jen guessed that Sustrich of the head of the Cheonil Group Company and Chung-yul. Now she realized why the man reacted so much to this girl. Chung-yul, who was enlisted with a friend of his son, flowed with his son and fell in love with his new one. And then the girl met her friend again at the official entrance. Before that, now she has a child. The woman thought that the puzzle was solved and she understood everything. Banjen asked her assistant how many guests there would be at the party in honor of the National Head Day on Saturday. Secretary Khan confirms that, as far as he knows, there are 6 guests. So the woman asked him to call the restaurant and give him another place. Banjen said that she would go there and check everything especially. Lying by his bed, Ji-hoo wondered if he could accept baby Chung-yul, who would move on to live with them in just one day. Boy, who will hold her hand? You don't know what you're seeing if you ask him. Ji-hoo was afraid that he wouldn't stop thinking about what Jong-yul and Ji-young-woo had at the same time, looking at Ubin. Jung-yul couldn't sleep. Vaughn praised Ji-hoo for his selfishness, so the girl went into the room before to check his figure. New guy has a high temperature. The girl gave the girl a cold compress, putting a wet gancherka on her forehead, and she fell asleep with it. After waking up, Ji-hoo placed Jung-yul on his bed. Having soaked the compress, I realized that she had been dreaming about him all night. The man turbidly covered his squad and went to work. When Jung-yul snapped, she said that it was already the 11th hour of the day. The girl was already angry that she had gotten caught up in the kind of work she does all day long. Vaughn quickly got together and decided to call the group center and get out. Taking the phone in her hands, Jong-yul informed Han-sun. He wrote to her that he sensed a group about those who were hospitalized, and told her to get dressed quickly. Yunak added that they will get together after the weekend. Jung-yul realized that Ji-hoo had told the potter that she had suffered. I really want to. Having suffered. The girl lost almost everything at home. The next morning, on Saturday, Chung-yul telephoned Ubin and told her son that in one day she could take him home with her. The boy is now very happy. having taken care of his mother. The girl asked her son to listen to his grandmother, and tomorrow you will come for him to Aunt Ji-soo. Having listened to the rumor, Jong-yul wondered about what Ji-hoo was doing a lot. She wanted him to turn away from work sooner. The girl actually came up with something to get him into work, and then the phone rang. This is an unknown number. Jong-yul raised her ears and answered the call. The woman said that Ji-hoo's aunt, Bang-jen, is there. Vona asked the girl to get up and go out onto the street this evening. The girl asked what happened. The aunt said that this evening the native sustrich would be coming, so Ji-hoo asked her to bring his squad. Jong-yul realized that something is wrong here. Vaughn thought that the sustrich would actually happen, but it was surprising that Aunt Bang-jen told her about it and not Mr. Taekyun. When Ji-hoo arrived at the restaurant, his father, brother, and sister were already sitting at the table. The man got out of jail and sat down in order of them. Ji-hoo looked at the 2 empty columns and asked, Hiba is guilty of coming to Bang-jen's aunt. Having asked the brother, Hiba Chong-yul was not to blame and came from him at the same time. Ji-hoo Vidpov, what's wrong? Then the brother let out that Aunt Jen would come with her daughter. Ban Jamin said that he must come soon. When the doors opened, Ban Jen was punished for being late. Vaughn said that the stench came through the great traffic jams on the way here, and everyone shouted at Young Yul, who was standing behind her. The guests took up empty seats. Bang Jen asked Ji-hoo how his squad can acquire native values, since they do not take them with them in their native land. Everyone was muttering, and Ji-hoo's brother, Ji-hai Sunbae, chuckled at the girl and said that a lot of hours had already passed since that moment, since the stench was still present. Jong Yul chuckled at the interviewer and confirmed that it was so. Ban Jen asked why everyone was so doubtful on the day of their brother's wife, as they were planning to celebrate the holiday in their native land. Ban Ji-hee asked her aunt that she was respectful of her under the native stake. Ji-hai Sunba tried to calm her sister down. That girl asked no matter what, she was wrong. Ban Jen handed her brother a small box and said that it was a gift for him. There were garnishes of cufflinks made of green catfish, similar to emerald. Ban Jamin thanked his sister for the gift, and all the guests began dinner. About an hour later, Aunt Bang Jen asked Ji-hoo why baby Jong Yul was not alive with them, even if they have already registered their love, and the registration of a child in Ban's homeland is also a big deal. Having asked Ji-hoo, he could talk about it for an hour. The man added that the lines of the wickedness of the minds of the commandment have not yet ended. Aunt Ban Jen said that she would boast about them to the company as much as possible, because apparently for the sake of the directors, they may be dissatisfied with Bang Ji-hoo's inauguration. Ji-hoo has confirmed that she is not to blame. The woman chuckled slyly and said that some wonderful things had reached her. Otherwise, his friends and the director of the Kyeonil group, Ji-yeon, are very close. Ji-hoo asked what was so unusual about it. Bang Jen said that she would not have been polite, as if the child Young Yul had not been seen. The girl, who was unsatisfied, missed the sight of the forgery. Vaughn wanted to wake her up, but Ji-hoo calmed her down and said that she would ask the waiter to change her cutlery. Bang Jen laughed with Jung Yul, and Ji-hoo told his aunt that in the past this girl was his betrothed, and Ji-young was his best friend. He added that it would be amazing, as if the stench were not recognizable. And also Ji-hoo asked Aunt Ban Jen not to boast about her homeland and the child of his squad. The aunt confirmed to Ji-hoo that she was praising not for the child, but for those that this boy could jeopardize the reputation of the Young-hoon Group company with scandalous rumors. Ban Jamin rose from the table and said that everyone could leave now that dinner had finished. Ji-hoo told his father that he should accompany him to the car. Finding herself alone with Bang Jen, Jung Yul told the woman that she had fooled her by luring her here. The woman confirmed that the girl felt uncomfortable here. This place and this homeland are not for her. The aunt told Chung Yul that she must know her place. Then she asked the girl how she could behave like this, bringing the child Ji-yeon into the Young group. Chung Yul asked the woman not to say that, otherwise she would know everything. The girl asked Ban Jen for evidence that confirms her words. Bang Jen laughed and said that Ji-young was forced to overload her money, so she went to work at the Young-hoon Group. Then she admitted that the girl had blessed her father to take her to work. The aunt added that Ji-young was also out of his mind, having stolen the name from his best friend. At this moment, Ji-hoo came up to them and said to her aunt, so she kicked out. The man added that she was immediately wasting her remaining life. Ban Jen asked, but you can't feel it. Ji-hoo confirms that he himself speaks about the reputation of the Young-hoon Group Company. Hunt Ban-jen told her nephew that through this girl we cannot separate heaven and earth. It's just the same as before without reason in front of her. Ji-hoo opened the car door and asked the girls to sit down. Ale Chung-yul didn't want to sit down and went. The man grabbed her hand and asked what had happened. The girl asked to be let in. Ji-hoo asked her to calm down and go home with him. Chung-yul asked why this is so effective and why she is in love. Ji-hoo learned that his aunt will always bring a saint to her homeland, such as the People's Day. The man recognized the squad, but without calling out to them, he knew that nothing good would come from their sustra. The girl asked why we couldn't let her go. She says that she has said that there is no way to get her back for what she has earned. She guessed to the people that they don't want to mark their entire lives with her, and now it's time to do everything in order to maintain order. Young-yul asked the man that he finally allows her to work on the same job and definitely get to know her. Ji-hoo tried to calm down the squad, but the girl continued to chew. Vaughn said that they had already registered their love and she gave her shares to her. Chung-yul has filled in the person why her life is like hell. Even if you don't know, you are planning to take revenge in such a way. The girl was kind enough to be so timid with her. Ji-hoo doesn't know what the words mean. When she hugged her, Young-yul began to cry and said that she hated the entire Young-hoon group. The girl asked her man that she also respects that poor people have no worthiness. Ji-hoo believes that he does not support his aunt's thoughts. Having added that she doesn't know how Aunt Ban-jen found out the details of her special life, she vowed to do everything possible to ensure that she no longer climbs into their life. Ji-hoo tried to take her home, but Jong-yul cried and said that she didn't understand. The girl knew that she lived all that hour, streaming her praises. Young-yul cried even more and said that she didn't know anything. Vaughn blessed Ji-hoo to let her in. The man, embarrassed, let the squad go and went away. Sitting in the bar together with her sister, Jung In-yul drank a lot of alcohol. Jisoo asked her sister to tell her what happened. The girl gave in to her sister and abandoned her to her mother. Jisoo was already worried about this, but In-yul didn't even ask about it. Vaughn asked, "Why should I Scott?" Yul said that her mother would have kidnapped her from all these troubles. The girl added that her food was no longer left. Vaughn confessed that she loved Ubin so much that she would earn everything so that we could be happy. Jisoo finished another dance and told her sister that she should not belong to the Young-hoon Group Company and everyone associated with it, because the stench made her sick and made her cry. The girl added that she knows that In-yul hates the Young-hoon Group Company, but Ji-hoo will die until her death. Jung-yul was shocked when she sensed this. Jisoo said that 5 years ago she fucked him, and now she keeps doing the same thing, and she never forgot him. The sister added that Yul was so afraid of causing pain to another person that she took everything on herself. The girl began to cry and said that her heart hurt so much that she thought she was going to die. Chung-yul took care of her sister, but her wrong choice caused 5 consequences. Then the girl reassured herself that she had no other choice. Jisoo told her sister that it was not her fault. Todi and Yul said that she feels bad for herself because she cannot earn anything. Vaughn cried that we couldn't earn anything, as there were 5 fates for that. Aja Ji-hoo said what to hate. So why does Todi gradually steal and hide? Jung-yul added that I feel like she deserves even more though. Jisoo chuckled at her sister and hugged her. The girl said what it was and Yul began to cry even more. Ji-hoo went to his room. I was so upset with Auntie Bang-jen for what Young-yul said. Vin thought that only the Stinks and Taehoon knew about the child Ji-yeon. The man didn't realize that he wanted to talk about it. Having realized how the girl asked to let her go, she wondered that she was a little respected. Then I guessed that she said that there was no home in her. Ji-hoo jumped out of bed angry that she might meet again. You don't know if you can get back into it again. The person guessed this knowledge in a dream. Vaughn said that she'd conceived a Yoma. Alvin has no idea what it is. Ji-hoo thought about the remaining happy days of his life and thought about the fact that Ji-yeon-woo is definitely not the same person as he is. Jisoo marveled at her sister sleeping, and it was a shame. The girl fell asleep after crying a lot. The sister carefully laid her head on the table and went to call a taxi. Raptum, the girl's phone rang. Vaughn dialed an unknown number. Ji-hoo asked Jisoo who is his sister. The girl was already happy that she had a new phone number. Ji-hoo, walking behind the rear of his car, said that he asked Mr. Taehoon to find out her license plate in order to identify him. Dae-in-yul, Jisoo said. Oh, in a sing-song voice at their house. Ta Ji-hoo asked to help you know your squad. The girl asked why her sisters would have to suffer for their homeland. So the man is sensible that Yul and his sister are together, and he is healthy. Having asked Jisoo for wine, it stinks immediately. The girl said that young Yul had to pick up her son tomorrow and he would spend the night with her. Having given Ji-hoo a new lease of life, he now has his squad. Jisoo thought about how Ji-hoo is as smart as ever. Vaughn did not understand how a sister should behave. Having arrived at Jisoo's house, Ji-hoo asked the girl, and immediately, Jisoo thought she was standing in front of a street gangster. When you noticed the girl who was waving at you in the cafe, the man went to her and asked, "De Chong Yul?" Jisoo said she was at the bar. Ji-hoo was amazed, having soaked his squad sleeping on the table in the middle of empty dances with alcohol. Jisoo, having shaken her spirits, said that she had been getting some supinity. When Ji-hoo threw his jacket over his squad, Jisoo was amazed. She marveled at him and couldn't believe that this man was so gentle, a man who has mocked this sister of suffering. Jisoo didn't show off, but she poured into him directly, but to work so hard that Jung Yul cried even more. Having asked Ji-hoo, she cried. The sister revealed that the girl had been crying through him for a long time. Ji-hoo grabbed the girl on his shoulder and carried her to the exit. Jisoo gave the man a reason to be afraid. Ji-hoo believes that he is taking his squad home. The girl asked that those who would come here would just forget about her. The man believes that he is guilty of gossiping about his squad. Jisoo lost her ability to stand on her own without understanding, actually. The same Ji-hoo she knew before. The man put the girl in the car and secured her with a seatbelt. When Ji-hoo carried his squad to the apartment, he felt a strong pain in his injured shoulder, but decided not to call him. Jung Yul leaned over and began to speak to Yomu in his ear, receiving the words. The man drew red and laid the girl down lightly. Having told her that without re-examining her 5 fates, she did not ask where she went, not only through her joy and her pride. Ji-hoo stroked her hair and said that she was afraid that what they had told Ji-yeon was true. I was afraid that I would betray her and step over myself. Vin realized that he was more afraid of spending it again. Ji-hoo took the sleeping girl by the hand and said that as soon as you know her again, the world will fall apart. The man added that he could kill anyone at any time, but for himself he clearly knew that he was going to turn them back. Zranku Young Yul took a shower and sat on the sofa exhausted. The girl thought about those who spend the rest of the time drinking a lot of alcohol and falling asleep. Then she guessed all the things Ji-hoo said. Vona told you that she had been holding it in herself for so long. Chung Yul wanted to get herself in order and follow her son. After all, Chung Yul told her sister that she had forgotten her purse in the cafe yesterday. Jisoo admitted that her purse might be in Ji-hoo's car. The girl was really shocked that she said that. Todi Jisoo told her sister that yesterday she picked Ji-hoo up from the cafe and drove her home. Chung Yul knocked herself down in front of her sister for drinking so much that she doesn't remember anything. The girl said that her purse could be near Ji-hoo's bedroom. Jisoo chuckled at what happened between them, and she added that there were a lot of romantic scenes yesterday. Jung Yul didn't hear anything until the Ubin leader's room arrived. Chung Yul pressed her son close to her and said that she was running after him as hard as she could. Having washed the boy, the stinks will now live together. Mom said, so, killed by drinking from Matusia, so we can get rid of the stench today. Vaughn confirmed that this is the case. The girl asked her sister for a speech so that she could spend the night in her. Early in the morning, Ji-hoo was sitting in his office, thinking about why Young Yul didn't come home for the night. She admitted that she lost the night with her son, but it's all the same. Ji-hoo is angry with the squad because they didn't get ahead of him about it. Mr. Taehoon called Yogo, but the president of the company Jung-hoon Group does not feel. Secretary Taehoon told President Bang Ji-hoo that he called him and said that he wanted to hear about the work of the skin team in the skin department. Ji-hoo walked along the corridor from his assistant. Taehoon asked the president why he came to the office yesterday and did not telephone him and did not call to himself. The president believes that he will simply finish his term project and then go home early. Then Taehoon asked what happened on Saturday evening. The secretary added that he was complimentary when he called and called Han Ji-soo's number late at night. Ban Ji-hoo turned to his assistant and asked him to encourage him to find a new job. Mr. Taehoon was shocked by this new thing. The president ordered to write a letter of recommendation for the new president. Chung Yul worked hard until the evening. Vaughn called Jisoo and said she was going to get dressed. The sister said that everyone can go home now because it's already time to go to bed. Jung-yul went home. When the girl went to the apartment, she thought that Ji-hoo was not at home. She quietly made her way to her room and found her purse there. The girl was about to leave and turned around before leaving. Like a rapist, she bumped into Ji-hoo and dropped her purse on her leg. The man screamed in pain. Then I asked my friend why she wasn't drunk today. And if she's asleep, she calls him by familiar words like yesterday. Jung-yul got married for those who were then. Ji-hoo walked a little closer to her and asked why they couldn't spend the whole evening together. The girl asked that she was respectful. The man guessed how he spent his steak, and how she hugged him when he was drunk. I realized that I don't want to spend it anymore. Ji-hoo said that he was ready to forget in a minute and start everything from scratch. For 2 days, sitting in his office, Bang Ji-hoo asked Secretary Taehoon that the design team was working above normal again. Mr. Taehoon vidpoviv, that's the case. Moreover, they will have to work on the weekend to catch up with everything. Ji-hoo has not been able to get along with In-yul for 2 whole days. After recognizing her in his senses, there was no stench. Ji-hoo believes that his Vicarist squad is using their obsession with work to make him unique. Mr. Taehoon told the president that he himself had put the design team's project on hold for an hour, and then told him to finish everything in a month. The secretary added that Mrs. Young In-yul cannot, apparently, get along with her son through those who work above the norm. Ji-hoo asked that they bring him the sound from the Department of Design. If the secretary of the P-Shop, Ji-hoo, thought about how difficult it would be for him to get along with the squad with which he lives and works, he just wanted to have a quiet time with her and tell her about his feelings. The secretary asked the girl to stand behind the door and check, and he himself brought the call to the office of the president of the company. Karivnik asked who brought this sound. Taehoon vidpoviv that the new worker brought the light to the design department, as he checks for the doors. Ji-hoo, thinking about what In-yul was, ran out of the office and into the corridor. He realized that it was a completely different girl, and began to feel embarrassed. The man decided to write a message to his squad. Having written, it is true that she is no longer a new designer in the field of design. And Ji-hoo also asked them to have lunch with him. In response to his announcement, he replied, "Vibakt, who is it?" The man is angry that the squad doesn't know his phone number. She wrote a letter to her, asking that she really didn't know the phone number of the person she lived with. In-yul was shocked by what she wrote. The girl didn't know what the news was. Vaughn wrote that the design team was looking for a new worker who would be responsible for bringing you the light, she wrote. And having rejected him, Ji-hoo asked what kind of grass she wanted to eat for lunch. Yul confirmed that she already has a meeting planned for the daily break. The man became angry because of those who are in conflict with others. While Ji-hoo did not confirm, In-yul began to think about the right thing to do. Vaughn wanted to establish an exchange on their sustria, but doubted the decision. Colleague Han Song asked his daughter that he didn't want to finish eating before dinner time. Chong-yul confirmed that her friend was planning to go to her place during the lunch break. Yunak said that everything makes sense then Pishov. The girl wrote the man's question about where they would go for lunch. Ji-hoo would welcome such information from her. Sitting in a restaurant, Ji-hoo asked his friend what she was thinking about. Chi doesn't feel sorry for coming here. The man asked what he should do. Yul confirmed that she had been thinking about this for a long time, having told her many days ago. Ji-hoo, without letting her finish, said that his lawyer would take care of all the food. If you put Ubin in your home registry, he won't have to complain. The man added that he already knew a nanny for the boy, who would be in order with him. The girl asked the man to listen to her. Chung-yul said that you don't need to go that far and go to her sin. Ajay, it's all the same. Through the river of stench we will be separated. Ji-hoo put the video on the table and seriously asked his friend why she was so important. The girl told you about those things that he himself said to her. Only one fate will be enough. And then you can go with the child wherever you please. Ji-hoo said that he was already very emotional, but now everything is different. In-yul cried and said that it would be better this way. Ajit say, Navit, not your child. She asked how it would be possible to live in the same cabin with that same child. Ji-hoo confirms that this will not cause any problems for anyone. In-yul said that he killed 5 years ago and didn't want to hurt him more, because he didn't know how to explain the whole situation to him. Having vaccinated him at home before the new one, you will be able to save a careless life. Ji-hoo said that they could start talking about Ubin at once. The girl got up and ran to go out. The man ran after her in the corridor. He caught up with her and hugged her. Jung-yul started crying and screaming why she shouldn't be allowed to go. Ajivona zradila yogo tanot kohai. Ji-hoo said that this is not so, and he will try harder for them. He added that he wanted to start everything right away. This means what happened before. The man promised that he would not regret his decision and would not let it go. Ji-hoo told the girl that she shouldn't waste her entire life by letting her go at once, because it's bad for her. Ying-yul said that she was already killing him, and she hugged the man lovingly. Early in the morning, Ji-hoo drove Jung-yul to work and asked that she didn't want to leave work earlier today. The girl confirmed that new priests are not allowed to do this. Ji-hoo said that everything is possible with the help of a potter and you. Vine kissed the squad, and she screamed that she could help them. Ji-hoo said, "Sho yomu baiduje." The man asked the girl to call him Koanim as she called him when she was drunk. Young-yul said, "Don't be so timid." Ji-hoo was a little embarrassed. Having guessed how she swore about him, if she had been injured, she said accepting words. When the girl got out of the car, she said, "Boo, bastard!" And Ji-hoo became happy. Banjen was sitting in the office of the president of the Kyonil group. One asked Ji-guk-chan why Yogo-sin flowed from Yogo named. The woman added that there were a lot of rumors about her child. The man believes that everything is not as it appears, and Yogo-san was simply helping this girl because she was named Yogo's best friend. Bang Jen said that Young-yul had planned it in advance, and she began to crawl inside Ji-young. Then the woman asked the director why he didn't recognize his son as a member of the Cheonil group. The man got angry and asked the woman why she cares about her father's boy. Chung-yul finished her work and headed to the elevator. My colleague Han Song caught up with me and said that I was on my way home. When they came out onto the street, they saw a black car there, looking for someone. Yunak said that this is the car of the president of the company. The girl said that she had forgotten something in the office. She needed to turn around and she ran out. Having run behind the booth, In-yul telephoned Ji-hoo and asked, finally parking just before leaving the office booth. The girl didn't want everyone to know about her trays. And the man said, "What do I know what other people would say?" Having added that we are now approaching her. When In-yul got to the car, she scolded the man for doing such a thing. Ji-hoo said that it was her fault that she went out onto the street with another man. The girl admitted that she would never have gone with him, because he kept checking on her. Ji-hoo chuckled and the stench poured into the road. Ji-hoo drove his squad to Jisoo's cabin, and said that she could hang out with Woo-bin as much as she wanted, and he would check them out in the car. Ying-yul murmured and went. When Ji-hoo lost himself, he thought that it would be impossible for me to go out with her in order to get along with the boy. Even on these weekends you can move to them at the booths. Ji-hoo thought about how the stench would live together with the child. Will the boy be listening? Then he thought that Woo-bin for everything is a smart lad because he is a son. In-yul. Ale Ji-hoo was afraid that he would not accept him as his father. The man went out onto the street and began guessing and rehearsing what he would say to Woo-bin during the fight. Jong-yul quietly walked up to the other side and asked what to do. Ji-hoo asked the squad, why did she turn around so quickly? In-yul confirmed that Woo-bin was already going to bed, and Jisoo was preparing delicious tea with lemon and handed it to you in a thermos. At home, the girl gave the man some tea and gave him some tea because he had an injured shoulder. Vaughn added that tomorrow I need to go to the doctor's office to have my stitches removed. Ji-hoo vidpoviv, which is even better. In-yul asked that it was even more painful if she had been screwed up. The man believes that he won't even disconnect from her through all the rumors about Ji-yeon. So if she realized that she was threatened by insecurity, then throwing up all the images and the body itself rushed to scream. And on the day of the nationality, the father, when she left, could not stop her. Ji-hoo knew that the stench had started all over again, but his homeland would continue to work for her more painfully. That's why we understand why she went to Jisoo. The man admitted that he was the only one constantly thinking about her. Having added that she had doubts, she asked her to trust him. Because it hurts so much, as there are 5 fates to it. Ji-hoo said that he was ready to give up his company to her, just so that she would get away from him, because his heart hasn't changed in the entire hour. Yul knew to the people that 5 years ago she didn't lie to you about her feelings, as if she wasn't lying at once. And no matter what others say, it is my fault to remember this. The girl told Ji-hoo that she kissed her man. They spent the night together and were very happy but without much confusion. Francie Woo-bin reached out and went to Jisoo's aunt. The boy said that he wanted to go to his mother's place of work. Jisoo said that she would call the phone and put it into her. Yul told her sister that there was a cafe next to her work. where they could smell her if she questioned her. Jisoo told the boy that it was time for mom to take her work away. Ubin is already happy and said that his aunt is the best. The boy asked Jisoo what his mom's business card was in her. In the kindergarten, the children received cards with the names of fathers. Jisoo gave the boy a card and she chuckled. In the evening, Jisoo asked the groomer to take Ubin to his mother's place of work because she couldn't get it. Vaughn said that his mother's office is right on this side, where the whipper is alive. The girl was fine and went to grab the boy. Kill the radium that's on the way to mom. When the taxi driver brought them, the girl began to joke about her haminets at the bag, but it wasn't there. The man said that the stink could have gone down the drain, as there are not a lot of pennies. The girl explained that she had simply forgotten the money. She asked for the number of her bank account so that she could transfer the pennies there. The taxi driver said that he knows people like him. People just tick away without paying. Killed and escaped from the car. The Wiggler ran after him. Vona shouted to the boy that there were a lot of cars on the road. Ala Ubin ran straight onto the road and the black car suddenly stopped in front of him. Ji-hoo, having cooked Tae-hoon, who was behind the kerm, got out of the car. You will reach the boy and help him get up. The taxi driver shouted at the driver that everything was going through it. Tae-hoon asked them what happened. The man found out that this girl did not pay for the taxi and was trying to get in with the child. The girl said that the nursery worker over there was taking the boy to his mother's office. She forgot her haminets, and this man started screaming and the boy began to bay. That's why he ran onto the road. The taxi driver asked the boy why he was angry. Kill the man back and pressed up against Ji-hoo. Ji-hoo asked the taxi driver how much stench there was. You paid the taxi driver a pittance and drove off. Mr. Tae-hoon said that the child needs to be taken to the doctor and tell the dads about it. The Vychovatelka said that she would call his mother. Ji-hoo asked the boy what is his name. I'm sure that his mother doesn't allow strangers to reveal anything about herself. So the man said that he needed to go to the doctor's office. At this point, the boy said that his mother does not allow him to get into the car before strangers. Ji-hoo told the boy that his mother is smart in this world, but he needs to get over it, that everything is fine with him. The nurse said that the boy's mother doesn't answer the phone calls. Mr. Tae-hoon told the girl that she could try calling the phone again on the way to the doctor's office. Ubin asked Ji-hoo for his business card. Ji-hoo was a little surprised, but he didn't give a damn. The guy read it and said that it is written here that he is the president of the company, which means that he is the boss. Ji-hoo chuckled and said that he is very sensible. Ubin said that you would also like to be barefoot if you are taller. Ji-hoo admitted that he wanted to buy himself a lot of toys. The boy said that he would like to be able to live with his mother. Ji-hoo was amazed and asked why he didn't live with his fathers. He said that before he lived with his mother, and now he lives with his aunt and his father is silent. The guy added that Yo swearing is the boss of the world. Then I asked the man whose name she was named. Ji-hoo confirmed that there is a squad in the new one. Then the boy asked what was in his new child. A man of faith, who is a son, who has 5 fates. We don't want to tell the lad about those who apparently never betrayed the son of his friend. He said that it's okay to make the guy laugh, because he's such a hot guy. Having asked Ji-hoo, he is running after his dad. I'm sure that he won't even hunt him down, but he'll go after him. The man said that perhaps his father would also come after him. If you want to grow up to enjoy life's many blessings, it's all the same. You have to love your children even more. He chuckled and said that Uncle Yen had told him that. Feeling its value, Ji-hoo drank it again. Then he asked the boy what his mother's name was. When he gave his mom's business card, it said Jung-in-yul, designer. Chung-yul ran up to the nurse and asked him about the boy who was brought to the doctor's office. While the nurse was looking for his name in her documents, he walked up to Matusia. Mother hugged the boy, and everything was with him after the accident. He said that everything is fine. In-yul said that she was praising him a lot for him. Behind Ubin's back, Ji-hoo and Mr. Tae-hoon were greeted. The girl was already well and fed up as the smells got in touch with the killer in the child's nursery. Ji-hoo found out that they were driving to the office after the fight, and Ubin's fight. Chung-yul asked how the stench could become noticeable, since she had never smelled anything before. The man admitted that he deliberately did not call her on his phone, so as not to shock her. The girl asked what happened to her son. The Vychovatelka said that she sank under the car. Ji-hoo said that Mr. Tae-hoon was disrespectful behind the kerm, and did not mark the red signal to the traffic light. Vin suddenly slowed down, and Ubin just got angry and fell onto the asphalt. About every episode, The stinks were going to take him to the doctor. Taehoon didn't know what to say because, in fact, the boy simply ran into the road without traffic lights. Mr. Taehoon shook himself in front of young Yul and said that he would be respectful in the future. Ji-hoo winked at UBI, and the boy chuckled at the confession. A year before, when they were looking for a doctor, Ubin asked Ji-hoo that he knew his mother. The man knows that he is quite close to her. Vin and I have no idea that I should get to know the boy myself like that. Ubin asked Ji-hoo not to tell his mom about the taxi driver. Ajay Yogo mama cook for those who jumped onto the road. Ji-hoo said that he owes you, and this will be their human agreement. Then he asked the boy that he wanted to be his son. Ajay Vin said that he would spoil his son. Having quenched it, it feeds it again. Then he told Ji-hoo that he had to live with his mother in order to be his father. And in this place there is already that little girl's squad. Before that, my mother said that there was a friend in her with such a stench to live together. Ji-hoo asked what her mother said about her friend. The boy said that the man is good. Ji-hoo said that this man deserves his mother, but he deserves her. Love this person too. Having said that you won't be able to be a tat. At the reception desk, Ji-hoo said that In Yul was rotten. Vona said that she was exaggerating. The man got married for those who did not telephone her himself and still did not recognize her. Afterwards, the medicinal stench immediately reached the pizzeria. The girl marveled at how vigorously Ji-hoo vigorously wiped her mouth and sinus. Having said that the right gentleman is guilty of being damned. Kill after registering with the doctor wanting to get a pet, and Ji-hoo supporting him, wanting not to love the pet himself. In Yul marveled at them and admired them, as if the stench had gotten along well. Ji-hoo asked the boy who remembers him, saying that he wants to be his son. Having asked, how about this, that his mother deserves someone else? In Yul asked Ji-hoo if she could explain everything to her sons. The man continued to tell Ubina that he was the same man that his mother loved, and that he loved her. Having asked, not the same garish man with whom you will soon live, Ji-hoo said that it's not surprising, because his mother is so good that he started shaking and made a proposition. But she got better, and now the stinks can live all at once and last every day. Ji-hoo told Woo-bin that now he won't have the chance to be separated from his mother. I'll kill you with so much radiation that you can sleep with your mother. The man believes that he can't sleep with his mother, but he wants to say that he himself will sleep with her. But In Yul asked him. Ubin told Ji-hoo that if he wants to be his tattoo, then he needs to talk about his mother, give him a massage and kiss him every day. Ji-hoo said that it will be so. Then the man asked the boy what he wanted for himself. He knew that he wanted to walk hand in hand, play games with him and go to the zoo at the same time. Ji-hoo vowed to earn for him everything he wanted, and told him about the human contract. In Yul asked her son for the radium wine that her father showed up so raptly. Ubin said that he deserves Ji-hoo. The man said that I was already welcome and told him to go home. Everything was fine and the stinks came out onto the street. Ji-hoo asked the girl, but he didn't even shock the girl. In Yul said that she had gotten over everything, and she chimed in about today. The happy homeland went home because it was already quite late. Park secretary is with Ji-yeon at the airport. He greeted the director and asked where to go. Ji-yeon Vidpov. Before Ubin. After a busy day, the boy quickly fell asleep. Ji-hoo lays it down on In Yul and crooks the carpet. The man said that on the weekend the stench should be turned into a child's room. The girl poured energy into the new one and then she will sleep. Ji-hoo showed the squad so that they wouldn't scream, and she said that now the stench should be eliminated at once, like a man, that squad. In Yul became embarrassed, and Ji-hoo asked why she should be bent. The girl confirmed that she boasts through those who think about her. Ji-hoo confirms that you need to work for this. It's not good for children if dads live in small rooms. Children are responsible for growing up in a warm atmosphere, and their father's farms are one after another. When they went to their room, young Yul told Ji-hoo that Woo-bin is a very dirty boy. And for the first time I trusted people who are very sensitive. Ji-hoo said that he didn't mention anyone. The girl grew up having previously so openly shown her love to no one other than her. The man said that I am pleased that he has become worthy of Woo-bin. In Yul chided Ji-hoo for being so close to her son. Ji-hoo confirmed that he will be with them in the future. The man admitted that the boy is happy because he is now in charge of his mother, and not through him. She talked and began to try to be his happy son to his loving father. In Yul took the man by the hand and said that she wanted to tell him something, but she couldn't yet. Ji-hoo hugged her and said that everything is understandable and will check when she's ready. You kissed her and laid her lightly. Ying-yul whined that the stench would wake up Ubin. Ji-hoo said that the boy was tired and fell asleep. Then the little girl calmed down. The man opened his shirt and said that he asked him to kiss him today and give him a massage. And you can't help but listen to your son. Ji-hoo walked closer to his friend and threw up and called out to his mother. Yul left the man and fell into the trap. Ji-hoo is thinking about how he is ready to become a father. When Secretary Park dropped Ji-young off at Jisoo's home, he told him to go home. Having asked, "I don't even want to say hello." The man is sure that he is tired and wants to go home. Ji-young asked Jisoo and Taehoon to walk away from the booth and didn't want to get out of the car. Vin wondered why Secretary Ji-hoo was timid here. Francine Yul telephoned her sister and told her about how they got along well with Ubin and Ji-hoo. Voni added that the stench of the table is inseparable, that she feels like a treasure. Jisoo said that Ji-hoo is trying really hard for her and it's clear that she's hurting. In-yul chided her sisters for conveying Ubin's speeches through Mr. Taehoon. The girl asked her sister how well she knew Taehoon. Yul confirmed that she is a kind and decent person. Vona asked Jisoo for anything she could possibly deserve. Jisoo said that she was just feeding. Ale and Yul wanted to help her sister and asked her to go home for dinner, as she called Mr. Taehoon. Ji-hoo, sitting in his office, asked his assistant what the president of the company is obliged to do on the weekend after 5 working days. Mr. Taehoon said that he had previously worked for this day and did not want to pay for his leave, and adding that I also have to work on the weekend. Ji-hoo said that he had told her to get married but she didn't want to. The company's president was telephoned by the squad and asked if they were at home. "Man, hope you can come home right away." Chung-yul asked what will happen with her robot. Ji-hoo said that he had already completed all his important affairs. The girl said that she wanted to reward her sister for helping with Ubin and hold the evening at their house. The man asked if it would be better to book a table at the restaurant. Yul confirmed that she would go from Ubin to the store and prepare something delicious. Ji-hoo said, "So that the stinks smell him, and now he'll go away. Taehoon is happy, so you can go home." The president asked him to sort the requested documents and collect documents in his office. Chung-yul called Mr. Taehoon and asked him to be their guest for the evening. Ji-hoo asked his assistant for a call to his friend's phone number. The secretary of the police at the hour of their acquaintance. They exchanged numbers so that In-yul could contact someone else for help. Ji-hoo was embarrassed that his squad didn't have his number, just like his secretary's number. Taehoon asked the potter not to be jealous. Ale Ji-hoo said so as not to come to the supper. Taehoon vid poviv, Jisoo will be there. Ji-hoo realized that he deserved it, so he waited. Before leaving, the president of the Younghoon group asked the secretary to contact Ji-yeon and tell you that Ji-ho would like to tell you. Ji-hoo walked to the store. Having killed Yogo, he ran to hug him, and Ji-hoo took Yogo in his arms. In-yul was happy to see them like this. They bought food and a toy for the boy. He said that he really liked this robot, but he liked the new one even more, and everyone laughed. During dinner, Mr. Taehoon told In-yul that her cooking was so tasty, and he understood why Ji-hoo was in such a hurry to get home. The girl was glad that the stinkers could all come home to them. When Ji-young got home, he immediately turned away from his dad. Yoonok said that it was already overdue, even though he had just arrived home from the airport. Ji Guk-jung said that he had been talking for a long time if his son became obsessed with this girl. Having sent him to England, they are confident that he will forget about her there. Dad asked Ji-yeon about why he was lying about the fact that this girl's child is his son. The man asked that the Cheonil Group company means nothing to him. He added that this cunning girl deliberately fooled everyone in order to get the shares of the companies. Ji-yeon asked her dad not to say bad things about In-yul, because she is innocent. Ji Guk-chon called his son a godly boy who doesn't understand anything. The man asked how he was about to steal the name from his best friend. Then, having asked, at least he agrees with those who will reciprocate. Yoonok mumbled, and father recognized the stink again at once. Ji Kuk-chung confirmed that he was celebrating them together at Ji-hoo's inauguration. Ji-yeon asked Secretary Park why she didn't know anything. The secretary said that you were punished not to say anything to you. The deputy confirmed that Young In-yul is now working as a designer at the Younghoon Group Gallery. Ji-yeon sat down and asked, embarrassed, why she didn't say anything to anyone. And why didn't In-yul herself tell you about such important ideas on the phone? Secretary Taehoon informed President Bang Ji-hoo that he conveyed his information to Ji-young, who telephoned his secretary. But they said that they had not yet appeared in the office. Ji-hoo said that it's wonderful. even though he's already turned to Korea. The man thought that after his father had treated them from Jung-yul at once, Ji-young would want to get together. Ji-hoo admitted that Ji-young simply cannot leave his cubicle, through those that his father does not allow him to study with anyone. Tae-hoon said that everything is clear. Bang Jen asked Ji-yeon, who was very upset staying at their house. Yunak Vidpov, everything is fine. The woman said that she came to talk to him and became friends with him. One asked Ji-yeon to wait for him to become friends. Banjen added that her daughter has long been involved in the wonderful director of the Cheonil Group Company. Ji-young believes that the difference between them is 12 years old, and they will never make friends with such a young girl. Before that, they have no plans to become friends. Then the woman said that her friend Ji-hoo had already become friends. The news shocked Ji-young. Banjen added that this love does not mean any sense, even according to her father's commandment. The word was about those who are guilty of making friends with this girl in order to take over the Young-hoon Group Company. And you can also add your son to your home registry. The woman added that leaving the child is a long story. And if the mass media sources know about those who are the child of a new man, and not Bang Ji-hoo, then the Cheonil Group Company will also be rotten. Ji-yeon asked the woman whatever he wanted. Banjen confirmed that she values such a reasonable son-in-law. That's why I want you to make friends on this bottom. Ji-guk-chan asked what the smell would be like. The woman said that she just wanted her child to be happy. Otherwise, there will be a collapse of the Cheonil Group Company. In the evening after Ji-hoo's work, I poured hot water with oils into a basin for my friend and wanted to massage his legs. Having said that all the women on her job wear heels, In-yul was very grateful to the people for the massage. Ji-hoo asked what to cook for Ubin for dinner. The girl confirmed that she loves egg rolls and tofu. Then the man asked that he was not allergic to anything. Yul confirmed that she is now allergic to lion seeds. One time there was a stench in the air and it couldn't go away. Ji-hoo said, "This is wonderful, but in New York I'm allergic to flax seeds." Yul drew a heart because she didn't know that anyone else had the same allergy as her son. The next day Ji-hoo played with toys from Killer. The man said that there are a lot of toys in his soul. The boy found out that Uncle Yong gave most of them to him. Ji-hoo asked the boy why he called his dad uncle. Ubin looked at the man with surprise and said that Uncle Yenu is not his father. Ji-hoo is shocked. The next morning, Ji-hoo gave his assistant 2 bags of hair and asked him to take it for examination. I realized that I couldn't live like this anymore, not knowing whose child she was. Mr. Tae-hoon assumed that young Yul could have deliberately changed the date of Ubin's birth without anyone knowing who her child was. Why don't you know now? He added that it is even more similar to those that he is afraid of. Ji-hoo realized that the girl wanted him to know, but she immediately needed to talk to him. 2 days later, the results of the DNA analysis arrived, and Ji-hoo found out about those who are Ubin, his son. You decide to go to your father's house right away, and then go home. Having walked to my father's office, I felt Chong Yul's voice there. Vaughn asked her father that there were 6 reasons why he wanted to beat his child into her in the womb.